Hello and welcome. You're watching a very special telecast of the Digital India Summit, the premier initiative of the Times Network, where we track the progress institutions of our country are making as far as India's digital journey is concerned. And under which we have a special guest today. I'm talking with the MD and CEO of Union Bank, Mr. Rajkiran, who's joining us today for a very special chat. Mr. Rai, thank you very much for joining us, and I must congratulate you at the outset of the interaction. The way Union Bank has also upped its technology game in the last, say, 24 months or 2-3 years, it has really taken the industry watchers bit by surprise as well, and it is flowing in your numbers. But talking of numbers, the UPI data is showing record levels now, right? The momentum is strong. At your vantage point, because you have a bird's eye view of the entire industry, in 2022 as we progress, how do you see these numbers accelerate going forward?
Yeah, I think we have seen a massive jump in UPI last year. This year also incrementally it is growing very, very fast actually. The number of transactions have grown. Actually last year I think we saw something close to 9-fold increase. That is a substantial jump. This is not sustainable, that kind of jump. Sure. But this year also incrementally we are seeing a substantial increase in UPI usage. Actually people have caught up with the UPI usage much faster. This happens with technology. See, we have many payment solutions. Out of that somehow UPI really was accepted by the people. It is much easy to use, very simple, and the technology platform was very robust. Rejection rates were very low. You can do a lot of small value transactions. Added to that, some of the private players, they also incentivized using UPI platforms, which has actually resulted in good numbers to them also. So overall actually this has been good for the industry, because for me ultimately, you know, the load on my clearing comes down, the load at my branches comes down. So any kind of technology revolution in payment space is always welcome for particularly banks like public sector banks, where we maintain most of these accounts with us.
Right. No, you're right. This absorption rate was a very pleasant surprise, and that may have also boosted the numbers which are coming in. What are your thoughts now that these services are also available on the feature phones as well? Because that's also a big step which the government has taken. Do you see that leading to higher penetration across the country?
Yes, actually it is estimated that about 40 crore mobile phones are still feature phones.
Yeah.
So naturally this is one section which is out of UPI space as of now, because you need a smartphone. The recent launch of the app for the feature phones and particularly small value transactions, particularly in the rural space, these are the transactions which will happen. So I think this will be a big welcome for the payment space. We generally do this transaction through the business correspondents at the ground level. Actually we used that extensively during the COVID period, actually when the DBT was happening. Now this coming in will further boost. Actually, as I already mentioned, we should engage with all technology solutions. So certain things will be accepted by the customer more than other technologies. So whatever is accepted by the customer, we should build on that and take it forward.
Actually, that is the step for financial inclusion.
Yes.
That's the real inclusion when it happens on the, at the ground level.
Yes, yes.
Right. Let's also talk about the Aadhaar payment-based bridge system.
Yes.
How do you see the potential of that and taking root going forward in the next coming quarters and years?
Yeah, this is huge. Actually, again, Aadhaar-enabled payment system has also grown many-fold, like UPI. Here, the beauty is the bank accounts are not important. It is the Aadhaar linkage which is important.
Yes.
So when you close a bank account or shift to your bank account, you need not inform anyone. It moves with the Aadhaar. Like suppose you are identified with your Aadhaar, when the DBT, direct benefit transfer, happens to you, it goes to your bank account which is linked to the Aadhaar. That is the beauty of this. The whole of DBT happens through this platform. Particularly during COVID period, when we were sending money to the beneficiary accounts, crores of accounts were credited at that point of time. We have used this platform. It is working very well, and going forward actually this is an enabler, particularly for reaching out to more number of people where the DBTs happen, and even otherwise actually for the banks. Actually these Aadhaar linked bank accounts are very useful source to deal with the customer.
Do you think that the unfortunate COVID which happened across the world, but in a way our country's digital backbone and the way financial institutions such as yours have also taken giant leaps in that, they got stress tested in the last 2 years in a way, and then they showed their mettle that how robust they are. Would you like to share something around that?
Yes, actually during the peak of COVID, when the Honorable PM announced this direct credit, and I think there were more than 20 crore accounts to be credited, and thanks to the government and the DFS, we split it so well. It was seamless actually. The messaging to the customer was also seamless. We spread it over 7 to 8 days, so that your account will be credited today, and then the actual payment also, we activated the BC network. We incentivized them so that actual payments also happen seamlessly. You would not have received a single complaint. Amounts were credited to the right accounts, where whoever wanted to draw the money, they could draw seamlessly. This is one of the, it is proven to the world that the system which is built by our country is so robust, and it has reached the beneficiary straight without any intermediary, and we could upload these files within an hour actually. That is the fastest way. You can see the crores of transactions happening within few minutes. Is something is a great achievement. It gives us a lot of confidence that going forward, the technology backbone of the country, what we have built, the databases what we have built is very robust, and now it gives opportunity for further building on that. Having built the network and the technology backbone, now we should go ahead and build further on that, so that as you said, in the right spirit, the financial inclusion should happen.
Right. Okay, now tell us a little bit more about how this absorption is actually happening at the village level. You know, small villages across the country, people, small SMEs across the country. If you could share that, have they benefited, they got empowered?
Actually, see, this is a huge country. When you talk of MSME, we talk of almost 6 crore MSME units across the country. We talk of a credit gap of almost 25 trillion. By one assessment of IFC says that. So there is a huge credit gap, particularly on the rural semi-urban side. I think this has to be bridged. We need to take a lot of steps. The database is being built. There are a lot of platforms coming up, particularly when you talk of MSME space, the problem is more on handling receivables. So the GEM portal is one solution which came up, which is really helping some of the MSMEs. Threads platform is another solution which came up. It actually basically solves the problem of MSMEs on the receivable space. Once they supplied a good, they raised a bill, generally they have a problem collecting this money. So these two portals have really helped them for getting the liquidity upfront when they raise the bill. But then going forward, we need to take care of much bigger things than discounting the receivables. So that's why the OCEN platform is something which is really coming up in a big way. The account aggregators are in space, banks are adopting to this technology. It is basically data driven, and it is an open credit network which will enable most of these MSMEs to reach out to institutional credit in a very digitized way. So the MSMEs need to be encouraged for doing digital transaction rather than cash transactions. That will quicken the process of onboarding them.
Right. You know, sir, the best part about, if there are a lot of positives, right, of digitization, efficiencies on organization, even the your client's convenience is there, and these organizations are also becoming more efficient on the working on the digital side. But there are some risks also which have come on the table.
Yes.
And you know, phishing, money laundering, there are many kinds of these kind of activities which are every now and then being attempted by unscrupulous parties. How are you fighting against that? Not only checks and balances, but also making your system so robust that there is hardly any gap in your system. If you could share something.
Yeah, actually what we see is most of the frauds happen because lack of awareness at the customer level. What we see is customer is sharing his credentials many times because they are tempted to share. So actually one of the solution is the second factor authentication, which is very good way of avoiding this, because there are many other ways also. The two-factor authentication system will reduce this kind of frauds. But even that PIN number, if it is shared, then there is no way. So more and more customer awareness, not to share the data, their personal data, OTPs and all that, that will help actually. From the institution level, we have built very robust systems. There are a lot of checks and balances. There is a cyber security operations center working. Our bank actually, I am very proud to share
Sure.
that in cyber security space, we are ahead of many other banks, and last time also we got a award from IDRBT
Excellent.
on cyber security. We have built very robust mechanism which detects any kind of attack on the system much early, and we prevent that. Then also we have enterprise fraud risk management system which actually looks at the customer behavior. You have never done a transaction of above 5,000 rupees in the last 2 years. Suddenly a transaction of 25,000 comes up. So it is a behavioral study which the systems have, and generally immediately it catches that and saying that how come this person is using a high value transaction. A message will go to him, maybe the transaction get locked till it is clarified. So, and some transaction happening from abroad, actually in credit card. So these systems are robust enough to catch that and lock that transaction. So nowadays actually we have built a robust mechanism to prevent all this, but then nothing can supplement customer awareness.
Sure.
That is the basic fundamental thing. Customer should be aware about how the people get cheated.
Any other important digital banking related trends which you are observing, and areas you are focusing on for your bank also, for example, if you could share, which tells us that the momentum which is building now, the next generation level growth may happen?
We have many actually.
Okay.
Union Bank has worked on, because we are building a digital bank within Union Bank. Some of the things connected to our earlier discussion, particularly on the financial inclusion, MSME and all that, I'll be very happy to share that we have built a Shishu Mudra product, which is a straight through process up to 50,000 rupees loan. What we need is a Union Bank account which is at least 6 months old. Through your U mobile app, actually that is our mobile app, you can apply for a loan, and in 30 minutes, if everything goes on well, if your loan is sanctioned, the loan will be credited in your account. Even the document is digital. It is OTP based, but even the documentation is digital. So you need not even visit the branch. Only thing you need is a account which is 6 months old, where you have done few transactions, because this is this is internally built by Union Bank, and we have taken help of some of the fintechs for process. So we have actually sanctioned more than 10,000 loans under this, and the behavior of these customers are also very good, because they are already digital savvy, and they are using the QR code and all that, which is helping us to track them further. And maybe it is a 50,000 loan. Who knows, in 2 years time they may be drawing 5 lakh loan from us. That's the beauty of this product. And we have also digitized the MSME loan up to 10 lakh renewal online. It's a 2-click thing. So yeah, you have a loan up to 10 lakh. For the renewal, you need not submit any papers. You need not go to the branch. We send you a SMS. You just click, provide the basic data to us. After that, actually, our system checks the data available in the system, your account statement, the debit credit transactions in your account. Then we go forward and renew your account. Similarly, up to 5 crore. We have actually developed a mechanism for online approval of loans, actually, where we give concession in processing charge also. See, when you come on the digital way, I also save on cost. So we are passing on to the customer 10%, 20% cut on the processing charges and all that. We started offering them. Similarly, we are working on the agriculture side also, some digital apps actually, where we are trying to get satellite data and the digital land records, so auto deliver. In some states, we are doing trial run. One of the best thing we are doing is on the trade finance side. So actually, particularly LC, BG opening, bill discounting of exports and import document handling. So we have built a good platform. We will be launching it shortly. So there are a lot of digital initiatives happening within the bank, and which will be all launched in the next few weeks, few months. So they're all working very well. Ultimately, the aim is to have 50% of our business on digital mode by 2025.
Right, and when you started the journey, till now, how much distance has been covered?
I say about 20%.
Okay.
We may be hitting that landmark by 24 itself, even though Vision 25 is in place to reach 50%. But according to my estimates, it is leapfrogging, and maybe 24 itself we may be able to achieve that numbers.
Mr. Rai, if you could just help us understand, when there was a complete, a full plan for digitization, or your organization was made few years back, and you wanted to join the mainstream, the way entire banking industry actually is going through a transformation. Now, how much of incremental loan book is actually coming via digital initiatives, and how your operating costs have been come under check, because it is a cost saving initiative as well. If you could, because what I am trying to understand is how your organization is actually benefiting as well from the inside by adopting all of this.
Actually, the numbers will be in single digits as
Sure.
of now, because most of these products are launched in the last few months basically. But I see in another 1 year, on personal loan space, we hitting about at least 25%
Okay.
by end of 23. On the housing loan space, about 10 to 15%. On the vehicle loan space, like personal loan, at least 25%. Because there we are able to digitize our documentation also on the vehicle loan space in select centers. So, but then on the MSME side, these numbers will depend on how the ecosystem evolves.
Sure.
Suppose the account aggregator concept stabilizes very fast, work-in system comes in very fast. We are fully prepared now. So our technology is in place. We have product developments in this sector. So if the ecosystem evolves in the next 10 months, maybe 25% of the MSME loans will be underwritten by in this digital way by 24.
So, are you saying that on an average, give or take, in the next 2 to 3 years, 25% of all business actually can be purely digital?
Easy.
Wow.
Some of the
That's quite
products it will be
meaningful.
50%. Even Mudra loan, actually, see now it's slowly picking up. Now up to 50,000, when I have done more than 10,000 loan in last 4 months, you can understand the
Sure.
speed which is picking up. Similarly, now we are upgrading that. Now actually we are already working on taking it up to 5 lakhs. So,
Wow.
you know, the more and more Mudra, it is a huge number. Actually, Mudra we generate huge numbers.
Numbers are big, yes.
Huge numbers. And this is one of the very popular product actually. See, one other good thing what we are seeing, it's too early to comment. We are doing back testing. The loans which are underwritten through straight through process, the digital way, the behavior, repayment behavior is very good. The stress like in this book is very low.
So, quality of credit is
Quality of
actually
credit
very
also
high.
improves when you go the
Okay.
digital way.
So, no, 25% what I am thinking aloud, it may appear small, but when we talk about in lakh crores, for a Union Bank,
Yes.
it will be, in absolute terms, it will be very large.
No, 24 Union Bank will be ahead of the curve.
Wow.
If the
Okay.
industry is reaching 25, will be 5-10% ahead of that.
Sure, I get it. And the
Because we are front runners in most of these products. now.
So, but operating costs also come down because of all of that.
Substantially. That's why we are passing on some of the benefits to the customer. Actually, see, the advantage of public sector banks that we have huge size.
Yes.
See, today I'm dealing with 12 crore customers. After amalgamation, it's 12 crore customer base. It's a huge bank. So we have the size today. We have to build operating efficiencies. That is where the profits of the banks are going to come. We have the size. You build operating efficiencies now. When your
Excellent.
efficiencies go up, your profitability will really go up.
Sure, and it flows into the numbers, and for all the stakeholders, it's a
Yes.
win-win game. Also, for a very long time, the Indian public sector enterprises on the banking side were mostly seen as social enterprises. Now, it's a very good blend of servicing the nation plus stakeholders as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Over the next 3-4 years, what are the strategic areas of focus for you? And also, as a representative of the entire banking sector, do you think, which are the areas do you think in the digital transformation process, it's a multi-year process, right, where industry should think, where your organization will also be focusing on, if you could share something?
Actually, onboarding of customers, basically the video KYC and the document uploading digitally, and these are the areas where actually like investment is happening, and this will be areas where customer need not go to any bank for opening his account. This will help not only financial inclusion, but then it will also help in our operating efficiencies also. This is one area where a lot of investment is likely to happen. Then actually a lot of investment is going to happen on building the data lake or storage of data.
Okay.
And then the analytics on that. Because when we have such a huge customer base, it is the analytics driven product offerings which will come to the fore. Many banks already are working on that, but then it is really going to go on a big way. So and then there will be a lot of thinking on the digital architecture what we have. As of now, we are core bank driven. Today, even if you have to verify your bank balance, it has to hit my core banking system. So when the UPI payment space was actually doubling at a fast pace. We had too much load on our core banking system. After that, our technology people came out with some solutions to manage this. So that's why you see many times the systems getting slower.
Yes.
Because when the transaction goes up, even though we have built our capabilities very high, but even then when the transactions go up, it slows down the system. It's a time that we have to relook at our architecture. So already we are on that job actually. So these are some areas, and then we need to build very strong monitoring and collection mechanisms. So when you go digital way, what you are doing is you are losing your personal connect with the borrower. Right now, most of the public sector banks, we were depending heavily on personal connect.
Yes.
Not only for lending and also for the collection. When you are going digital way, you are physically not meeting your customer. You don't know him. You only have his digital footprints and data. So the collection mechanism also have to be digital. So somewhere actually you also have to bring the human element because there will be hardcore accounts where you have to collect, where you need a human interface. So banks have to invest on this also, on the collection mechanism. So these are the areas which I see which will be like, as you go digital, you have to invest in these areas so that you don't lose out. You don't build risk in areas which you are not built earlier, because like some advantages were there in earlier system. So that will be lost when you go digital way. So you need to anticipate. These are the things which you will where you will face the problem. You need to build the right mechanism to sort it out.
Mr. Rai, what are the challenges do you think, be it the regulator, be it institutions such as yours, and everybody in the ecosystem would also have to face, and what other areas will have to do things to overcome those challenges in our digital transformation of the financial services and country at large?
The first thing comes to mind is data security.
Okay.
Now the biggest challenge actually, as you talk of data storage, it is a compromising with the data is the biggest risk we face. So we need to build sufficient technology to to safeguard data. Second thing is, today like you talked of phishing and where people are losing money.
Yeah.
Now when you come with account aggregator concepts, data becomes important. Through that setup, actually there will be a lot of players like loan service provider and other private players who will be playing a role in this system. It is not only banks. Actually they need to have sufficient security systems built in. So data security becomes the biggest challenge, not only for me, because some of the breaches what we saw in banks earlier, it had happened through the vendors. Because the small vendors who operate, who are very efficient, but they don't invest so much on the data security. So that is the biggest risk. So now when we build on all this, we see all advantages, but then data security is something which we need to invest and ensure that that is safeguarded.
That's very nice. Mr. Rai, thank you very much for chatting with us today, and it was great and very educative with this conversation.
Thank you.